everyone, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, we'd like to welcome Jim Owen. He is a best-selling author, film producer, and a super ager. He's also a former Wall Street executive, and he would like to talk more about today our series on optimal aging and share some of his advice on living young. So, Jim, we'd like to give it to you, and here's some of your advice.
Well, Sandra, I'm delighted to be on this program. And I think ageism is a real problem. I know I live in a senior community, by the way.
Okay.
I'm 83 years young. And I look around and I see a lot of people look at the world backward. My best days are behind me. And I have a lot of faults, but one of them is I don't look back ever. I have no regrets. No, why didn't I do this? I tend to be a guy I have what I call positive energy.
Good.
And I'm fascinated by this idea of the super ager. And when you live in a senior community, we have about 400 people here.
Okay.
There are some people, we'll say, who are 60 who look and move like they're 80. And there's some who are 80 who look and move like they're 60.
Sure.
And a couple of years ago, we've been here about 3 years now, I said, what is it that makes somebody, who's 80 look and move like they're, what's the difference? What's the missing link?
Okay.
And I'm not sure there's any one thing, but Sandra, I do want to share with you one thing. I don't think the quote experts really understand this whole thing. How do you measure joy? How do you measure positivity? How do you measure a lot of the really important things in life? So I look at this whole thing as being not a medical thing. First of all, I should tell your audience, say, Jim, what are your credentials? I only have one. I was a certified couch potato. And when I turned 70, I was in awful shape. Oh, my lower back. I was literally crawling on the bathroom floor when I turned 70.
Okay.
Right rotator cuff was frozen. Both knees were shot. But the worst part about it is I had no energy.
All right.
And I said, I got to do something. I didn't know what to do.
All right.
And one statistic got me off the couch. And I want to share it with you and your audience. I think it was Mayo Clinic that said this, maybe in Harvard Medical School, but some experts, they said, if out of a very large population, like 100,000 people, Sandra, it said, if you make it to 70, statistically, you can expect to live another 15 years. I said to myself, if I feel this bad now at 70, can you imagine when I'm 85? And so I said, okay, I got to do something. I didn't know what to do. And again, I'm not a gerontologist. I don't have an advanced degree in any of this stuff. I'm just an ordinary guy. Had a good career in the investment world. And somebody would say I was more lucky than smart. I wouldn't argue with that. I talked to a lot of experts. And to be honest about it, the more I read, the more I dug into it, the more research I did, the more I thought, I don't know about this medical stuff.
But you did do something about it, and you wrote a
I took control.
Right.
Yeah. And so the whole idea was work on what you can control.
Okay.
And don't sweat the rest. That was my philosophy.
Your book is Just Move, A New Approach to Fitness, which is a bestseller. And it's given a lot of people great hope to continue doing great things.
Well, and the key word to me you just used, it's hope.
Okay.
I want to give people hope. And that's something that most people look at and say, my best days are behind me kind of thing. So they kind of go into old age. Sandra, I look at old age as an adventure.
Okay.
And I've been married to the most amazing woman for 55 years. Now, I wouldn't put up with me for a month. This angel puts up with me every day. And so part of my story is that couples that exercise together stay together.
Nice. That's good to hear. Yes. And I do understand that your wife is your fitness partner and you do stay in shape. And you certainly make a great team. That is good.
Well, and she's a Southern lady. We're both from Kentucky, little kids. I'm
Okay.
from Lexington and Owensboro. Her mother said would not let her exercise or be when she was in high school. And she
Okay.
said, Stanya, ladies, horses perspire, men sweat, ladies glow. She got into it because of me about 5 years ago. And
Okay.
she teaches me a lot of stuff. We have a blast.
That's
But
important. And that's important too. That is good. Now you've said, in your book and also your documentary, mentally and physically improving every day is so good, and it fights off old age. And in your film, The Art of Aging Well, you talk about that.
mm-hmm. Well, and the number one thing for your audience is to take the long view.
Okay.
There are no shortcuts. Now,
Right.
being honest about it, if I could take a pill and never have to work out again and stay lean and in shape, I mean, who wouldn't do that? As far as I know, there is no pill. There's not going to be a pill, but
Right.
I don't believe. And Sandra, one important concept to me, at least, is that it's not about living longer or living to 100. Who would
Okay.
want that? It's more about living a complete and full life. And if at the end of the next, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever, it's
Right.
sort of that for me, I just want to be able to look back and say, I left the world a little bit better than I found it. And that's why I'm on this mission. I'm a guy on a mission, Sandra. And
That's
I
nice to
said,
hear. That's
when
good
you
to hear.
look at the statistics about the number of older people who literally never move, they sit on
Right.
the couch, and that will lead to, I promise you, all kinds of health issues, depression. So you've got to get out there, but take the long view. I work out 6 days a week and an hour a day, 6 days a week. That
Good.
says, well, I don't have that much time. Well, if you're raising a family, building a career, you probably don't. But now that when I turned 75, I wasn't really working per se,
Hmm.
and no boss to report to. So I decided I was an investment guy, and I said, I'm going to make an investment in my own health. And
And
it's
you
a
did.
priority. And for example, I wrote down my goals. I'm
Okay.
amazed how many people don't have goals when it comes to fitness. I do, and I
Right.
write them down. It's on a pad. I can tell you what they are, and I
And that's
wanted to.
important. That I think that's a very important point you make, that you should set goals no matter how old you are.
Doesn't matter.
It's
Doesn't
a
matter.
great thing to achieve something, each day, even if it's a small thing, like you're saying, set goals. And
If
you
it's
have
15 or 20
your
minutes, it's 15 or 20 minutes. If that's
right.
all you want to do or can do, it's fine. Now, I happen to enjoy, believe it or not, I enjoy working out. And
Good.
Steiny and I work out, and we laugh and giggle like kids. It's
Good.
not about how much weight can you lift. You just have to be physically active. If you say, Jim, I hate the gym. Okay. There's bicycling, there's walking, there's hiking, there's all kinds of things,
All
but you've
things.
got to get off the couch,
Right.
be physically active. Now, here's where I made a mistake. I thought this was all about the physical fitness. There's also mental fitness.
Sure.
There's social fitness. And to be honest about it, when I turned 80, I looked at myself. I said, look, I'm fit as I can be. I've lost
Okay.
35 pounds. I weigh less than I did in high school. I can do 50 push-ups. That's all true. But
Okay.
something was missing in my life. And I didn't know what it was, but I started thinking about it. And what I realized was, yes, it's important to be, in shape and that kind of stuff and not hurt and ache all over. I have no aches and pains at all today. But what I was missing caused me to change my goals. Today, I
Okay.
want to be a better husband, better father. I want to be a better friend.
Good.
And I'm really working at this. And so I think a big part of this is not just the physicality, the payoff for me, truthfully, has not been how many push-ups can you do and that kind of stuff. That's nice, but that's not the payoff is a confidence that comes from seeing how far you've come. I look back on day one at the gym, I could not do one push-up, not one. Oh, come on.
Well, you know, Jim, that's it's all good advice for those people out there who are willing to at least give that a try. And that's
give it a try.
start.
That's the key.
That's
just
the start.
Start somewhere and be modest in what you're trying to achieve. And just remember, you're in this for the long haul. There are no shortcuts. If there were, I'd be glad to give it to you. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not selling anything, but I really believe I can make a difference. Making a difference to me is more important than making money, to be honest about it. And I'm trying to make a difference in people's lives by telling them a story that they can relate to. So I was terrible shape. Now at 83, I'm just getting started.
It's a good message for so many out there that you can convey to others that you did it and they can too.
If I did it, anybody can do it. I am nobody special, believe me.
Good for you.
I will say one thing. In my heart, I believe my best days still lie ahead.
That's nice to hear. That's good.
And that's what keeps me young at heart. Now, maybe not at age.
That's great. You know, we will, in closing, I just want to tell people to look for your film series on PBS, which is Super Agers, Getting Old, Living Young. It's just another positive in your life that will convey to others that they can be doing some great things in their life too.
It's never too old to get started. And that's my message.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, thank you, Jim Owen, for joining us today on the show. Author and filmmaker. And at 83, you are still going strong and not slowing down a bit from what I can see.
young at heart.
Very good.
That's what it's all about.
Very good. Well, thank you so very much for joining us, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank all of you for being here on Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. We look forward to seeing you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.